What's going on, everybody? It's so weird. Every time I put on the camera, it's like everything that I think about, it just doesn't come out right. And, I watch a lot of YouTubers and I've actually bought a few courses on how to create content for YouTube. And, they always say you got to hook the audience with like a unique, weird, wacky way. And for me, it just doesn't feel natural. And a lot of them actually recommend scripting out your entire video and doing multiple edits. But then as I watch the courses and I see how they actually create the content, I realize that you're not actually living the experience that you're preaching. Like you're not actually doing the thing that you're teaching, you're just doing it to create content. And that kind of bothers me to see how easy it is to kind of like manipulate an audience to think that you're an expert in something, and it just comes out weird and awkward and you're just basically scamming your audience. But anyway, I digress, right? What I want to do is talk about how to increase your energy without changing your diet, without changing your sleep or getting more sleep, without supplementation, without, doing all of these weird things, buying these weird gadgets. All I want to do right now is tell you a secret. And here we go with the YouTube, right? The course creators tell them a secret. But all I want to do right now is tell you a little secret that is never really talked about on how to increase energy. Because for me, energy is very important because I struggled with it for most of my life. I've always been this insecure, introverted, shy Asian boy. Now I'm 35 now, but as a kid growing up, I've always been stifled. I've always been tense. I've always been, drawn in like a little turtle. And anytime I tried to peek my head out, it was like weird. And as I got older and I got into like fitness, health, and I started to do some of the right things, regardless of what I did, my energy still lacked. Even if I was eating right, sleeping good, like I'm a big fan of right now, Andrew Huberman. And I started following him back in 2021. He's a neuroscientist and he talks about taking supplements, how to optimize your sleep, how as soon as you wake up, you should expose yourself to bright light so it could set your circadian rhythm. He talks about supplements to take, how to work out, how to eat. And I started doing all of these things back in like 2020, 2021, and it helped. It helped because it's better than what it was, because before that, I was relying on 600 milligrams to 900 milligrams of caffeine a day just to get through the day, just to have any kind of energy. And this is from a personal trainer. This is from somebody who was preaching energy. Now, I had a lot of energy being on 600 to 900 milligrams of caffeine, but it came with side effects. It came with a lot of anxiety, nervous tics, crashes, emotional outbursts. Now, me at the time, I wasn't emotional outward, but inward, created a lot of blockages, turmoil. And it wasn't until really recently that I started having ooh, look at that big word, tremendous amount of energy. When I realized that the reason why I don't have energy, even though I'm kind of doing all of the right things, is because I'm not interested in what's going on. What does that mean? What that means is I prefer reality to be a certain way. And if it's not a certain way, I bitch, I moan, I complain about it, usually not outward, but internally, or I fight with reality. I fight with the moment and I try to manipulate the moments in front of me to make it the way I want to be. So I'll give you an example. Recently, a few days ago, was my girlfriend's niece's birthday. She turned 5. It was February 23rd. And she also has a 2-year-old brother. And when we got there, my girlfriend's niece, Samara, she was very, very excited. And when we started to give her these gifts, she's starting to develop this personality. She's really becoming like a girly girl. She's into like fashion, wearing sunglasses, a little bit of jewelry, a little bit of makeup. When we got there, she was excited. And of course, her little brother Zamir, he was excited. Her little brother's 2 years old. And they had a lot of energy, right? But as soon as Samara saw the gifts, all she cared about was the gifts. And what happened was they got her this little like pocketbook. What she was trying to do was she was trying to stuff everything she got into this little pocketbook. And she was so obsessed with getting everything into this pocketbook that she was like, they were trying to get her attention, even for the birthday cake, and she didn't want to move. She was being mean. She was, saying no, get out of my face, leave me alone. And she was really, really upset because she couldn't get anything into this pocket. She couldn't get all of the material into the pocketbook. And she was just so busy fighting with the pocketbook, trying to fit everything in. And that's called something. That's called developing a preference, because she has the pocketbook and she prefers reality to be a certain way, which sounds ridiculous. She's trying to force 20 pounds of things into a 10-pound bag. And because of this, her energy started to go low. She started to have not energy. She started to lose enthusiasm. She started to lose interest because she's developing a preference. Or that's called developing a personality. She's developing a lot of a personality. But what's that? Personality is the personal. It's the things that we want to have happen. It's the things we call our own. Whereas opposed to her little brother Zamir, who's 2, has so much energy. And I was busy running around with him, jumping up and down. He just wanted to play. And he was interested in everything. And this kid had a lot of cake. And you could say, oh, it was the sugar. But I'm telling you this. Look, the amount of energy he has doesn't even make sense, because technically, as a little 2-year-old boy, he should not physically have more energy than us adults. Why? Because his muscles are smaller. His lungs are smaller. His lungs are weaker. His heart's weaker. He even has like some type of blood deficiency. He doesn't have a better diet than me. He's probably not sleeping better than me. He's probably not taking all of these supplements that I'm taking. Yet he had way more energy than I did. And I had a blast playing with them, but I realized what it was. I'm like questioning, how does a 2-year-old have so much energy? And I'm telling you, physically, they don't have more energy. They're just not blocked. They just don't have any preferences yet. They haven't developed enough preferences. They don't care what reality is doing. They just want to be a part of reality. Where a lot of us are like my 5-year-old niece, who has a preference. And because she prefers reality to be a certain way, and it's not, she's busy fighting with the pocketbook. She's busy trying to get all of this stuff into her little tiny pocketbook. And because it's not the way she wants it to be, she's upset. She's mad. She's tense. She's creating resistance, as opposed to accepting that, hey, you can't fit that much stuff in your pocketbook. And she's busy fighting, screaming at us. And it was very, very interesting for me to see, because she wasn't like this 2 years ago. She had way more energy. She was more abundant, and that's fine. That's what's going to happen. But what's stopping us from having more energy? What's stopping us from having the amount of energy that the 2-year-old Zamir had is that we prefer reality to be a certain way. And if the reality is not the way we want it to be, we throw tantrums internally, which zaps a lot of our energy, which means even if you're doing the right supplementation, eating the right food, doing the right diet, getting the right amount of sleep, eating, whatever, taking all of these energy boosting foods, you're still going to feel weighed down, because we have preferences on the way reality is supposed to be. As opposed to if we just let go and accept reality for what it is, and stop blocking ourselves from being interested in the moment. Because what a lot of us are doing, as opposed to becoming interested in the moment, what we're doing is trying to manipulate the moments in front of us. That way we could feel good within ourselves. A lot of us are just walking around disturbed all the time, judging things, saying, why isn't it me? Why can't I have that Ferrari? Why can't I have that girl? And because of this, it's weighing us down. So what we gotta learn to do is learn to let go of our preferences. Not all of our preferences. Of course, there's gonna be things that we like. But what we should learn to do is like more things. A lot of us have a lot more things we dislike than we actually like. And because of all of these dislikes that we have, we don't want reality to be a certain way. It just bogs us down. It weighs us down. We feel tired. Now, the question is, how do you get rid of all of these blockages? Get rid of all of your dislikes. Get rid of your emotional triggers, your emotional traumas. And the first key is to accept that you have it. Accept who you are fully, which is a lot of times is deep. The stuff that's in us is buried deep. It's our shadow side. We got to start doing more and more shadow work. Learning that when we get triggered, learn how to relax. Okay, I'm triggered right now. Accept it. I don't need to fight with reality to make myself feel better. Because a lot of us, we want to feel better as opposed to get better. I'll say it again. A lot of us rather feel better in the moment than actually get better. Which means like when you start to feel some type of way, when you start to feel angry, sad, depressed, hopeless, all of these weird negative emotions, we try to do something about it. We try to distract ourselves from it, which just stuffs it down even more. So what we got to learn to do is stop resisting. Stop resisting reality the way it is. Allow it to be the way it is, which means when this resistance comes up within us, all of these trapped emotions that's buried inside of us, all of these preferences, because reality isn't the way we want it to be. We just have to accept what's coming up, and it's painful. It sucks. So once you learn to dive into this, which is what, this channel is really, really about for me, is about getting into your shadow self and releasing all of your baggage. That way you have more energy. That way you have the amount of energy a 2-year-old has, who just loves reality, who's just appreciative, who looks at everything like it's magical. Like if you sit and think about it, the universe has been here for 13 billion years. The Earth's probably been here, I think they say about 4 billion years. We're lucky to be here for 70 to 80 years, which is less than a blink of an eye, right? So everything we do here really, honestly, doesn't really matter that much. But what you could think about is how many moments had to take place in order for this moment to exist? Meaning for you to exist, for me to exist, what had to happen? If you just start with the Big Bang, it started off with a little bit of gas. They had to come together. They had to form all of these stars and planets. The sun had to be formed. The earth had to be formed just right. Gravity had to develop. All of this stuff had to happen. Then if we go down to human beings, your great grandfather and great grandmother had to meet at the right time, have a baby, and then it just continued to go down all the way down until your parents came. And all the way down to you came, and then now you're existing in this moment because of all that's taken place before this moment. This is like really, really deep stuff. And if you start looking at it like that, you start to actually appreciate the moment. Like, wow, I get to really, really experience this. Because most of the universe, as far as we could tell, is just a dark void. It's just empty. So Earth, in a way, is God's way of saying, yo, this is Disney World. This is like Disneyland. This is really cool. There's so much going on right now in this moment that we're not even paying attention to because we're busy bitching that the moment in front of us is not the way we want it to be because we have a preference. We have a personality. It's just like my niece, Samara, she wants reality to be her way. And if it's not her way, she bitches and moans. And she expresses that. We do this exact same thing, but we do it internally. And because we do it internally, it weighs us down. It drains our energy, which is why I had to rely on 600 to 900 milligrams of caffeine, which is why I got to get 7 to 8 hours of sleep, which is why I have to get the perfect type of diet to have any type of energy. I got to get the right supplementation. And all of these things help. They really, really do help. But what the true secret is to having more energy is releasing those blockages, to become interested in the moment as it is, accept it, allow it to be the way it is. And then from there, work with it, become in harmony with the moment in front of you, as opposed to fighting with it or bitching about it, which is what we all do. Because we all have blockages, we all have preferences, we all want reality a certain way. We all want more money, more love, more relationships, more friendships, more connection, more respect. And the fact that we don't have it, we're busy either fighting to get it or we're bitching about it. So the question is, how do you release these blockages? The big key is shadow work. Is asking yourself, why am I not happy with reality? Why am I not appreciative of this moment in front of me? Because learning to settle into the moment in front of you is tough. The reason why it's tough, I explained in the previous video, is the moment you try to become present, all of these blockages are going to come up, these disturbances. This is why it's so hard to sit still. People start to get frustrated, antsy. They can't, they get these little nervous tics. That's your body, your soul trying to push up these blockages. And when these blockages come up, because it's uncomfortable, we fight with it. We shove it back down or we run away from it. And it just continues to build up more and more. As opposed to a 2-year-old, he just allows it to come up, experiences it fully, and lets it go. Now, of course, as he gets older, he's going to start having preferences and he's going to want reality to be his way, which is then he's going to turn out to be more like his sister, which is a natural process for human beings. We start to prefer reality to be a certain way, but this is literally what trains us. So what you got to do, I'm 35 now and I'm learning how to do this. We got to allow ourselves to settle into the moment, become interested in the moment. Once we become interested in the moment and say, wow, become appreciative. Like we're literally on a spinning rock, a little grain of dirt floating in the middle of space, following a star in the sky. If it's wild, like the sun is literally going through space. I used to think the sun just stood still and we just circled around it. But I saw a YouTube video, maybe a year ago where the sun's actually moving through space and we're following it. Like we have no idea where we're going. It's like great mystery. And if you can learn to like really appreciate it, be grateful for it, you'll have more energy. But first you got to do is learn to settle into the moment. And when these blockages come up, these sensations, allow them to come up. Become aware of it. Accept that it's there. Say, okay, I'm okay when these blockages come up. I don't got to distract myself with Instagram, social media, YouTube, Netflix. Just be with myself. And when you just start to be with yourself and allow these blockages to come up and sit with it. And it does suck. It's painful. Over time, they'll start to release. But right now, what most of us do when it comes up, we just shove it back down. We're like a blocked river. It's like the water's trying to flow, but we just keep putting these blockages in the way so the water can't flow. Which is why my nephew Zamir, he has all of this energy and he's only 2. Even though physically he doesn't have more energy. His muscles aren't as strong as mine. His heart's not as strong as mine. His lungs aren't as strong as mine. He's not eating better than me. He's probably not sleeping better than me. This is why he has all that energy. He has spirit. A lot of spirit. He has mana, chi, whatever you want to call it. Prana, shakti, heart, soul, whatever you want to call it. He has more of that. He's pure. And what we got to work on doing is becoming more and more pure by releasing the blockages. That way the energy could just flow through our body. But it's not going to flow through our body until we start to release some of our preferences and accept reality for the way it is. And how do you do that? Just settle into the moment. You could even ask yourself some shadow work questions. Why can't I enjoy this moment? What's bothering me right now? Allow it to come up. Whatever thoughts come up, fine, but focus on the sensations it's creating in the body. And when you focus on the sensations and you stay with it and you stay with the pain and you get comfortable being uncomfortable, your body will actually just learn to release it all on its own, because the energy is constantly trying to push up these blockages. Like I said earlier, it's like a river trying to push through a rock. It's constantly trying to flow through. But what we keep doing is putting more rocks. So once we learn to release the blockages, we'll naturally have more energy, just like my 2-year-old nephew, Zamir. And it's super interesting to see how my niece, Samara, from age 3 to 5, not saying she doesn't have a lot of energy. She has a lot of energy, but the way she has a preference now. I want reality to be this way. If it's not this way, I either pout about it or I run away from it. And I swear to you, like it was her birthday, when we brought the cake out, she didn't want to move. She was quiet. She was just so busy, focused on putting all of this stuff in this bag. And it was literally, I could see it was like draining her soul, the fact that she couldn't get it the way she wanted it to be. And it's going to continue. I don't want to say it'll get worse, because as we get older, we have more and more preferences. We have more ways we prefer reality to be. But once we learn to just accept reality as it is, let go of some of our preferences, particularly our dislikes, accept reality the way it is, that's the true secret to having more energy. It's soul, it's chi, it's heart, it's mana. And I really think that's the missing ingredient to having more energy. So hopefully that made sense. I figured I'd just get on here and just do a little rant. I know I went all over the place, but if you got value from it, please like. And also, if you're new to the channel and you haven't subscribed yet, subscribe now. Peace.